Right. Hi, everyone, and welcome along to the Sunny Coast podcast called the Referral Wave. My name's Tony Cross, and by day, my business is called Drive Connect, car brokers and advocates. But today, I'm joined by the fantastic Andrea from Your Marketing Machines, a live wire, if nothing else. Welcome along. How are you?
Hey Tony, look, fantastic to be here and thank you for the opportunity and catching up, having a conversation and talking about all things BNI. It's very exciting.
Great. Now, you were at the conference. Obviously, you're a principal sponsor, and you've been a speaker on stage a couple of times. We've listened to you heaps. Now, we're going to get to that in a minute, but before we get the on stage, Andrea, I want to know about how it all started. So, how and why did you get to join BNI?
So I guess I'm known as a retread. What does that mean? Essentially, it's not my first time in BNI. So I was originally part of BNI in Auckland, New Zealand, back in the day. Gosh, that's going back, probably 20 years ago. And then when I moved to Australia, I was living in Perth, WA, and I was in a BNI group actually in Fremantle under Mr. Williamson. And then I moved to Brisbane in 2017 and ended up launching a BNI chapter in 2020-21 with the fabulous Lisa Gill and been here ever since. And I guess, you just can't get rid of me.
You're part of the furniture.
Pretty much, I feel like it is. And then, of course, what I've now gone and done is that there is four of us who make up the YMM team here in Brisbane, Australia, and all four of us are in four different BNI chapters.
Wow, geez, well, that's testament to the system, if nothing else, got all the staff involved. So what chapter are you in, and how many people are in that chapter?
I'm a part of BNI Oasis. We are part of the Brisbane Central region that comes under Avi Sequeira. There is 33,
Yep.
I believe, 33
Yeah.
winners that are part of BNI Oasis.
Yeah. Fantastic. And okay, so let's just talk about the value you see in having a staff in, because you know, I mean, not everyone, like a lot of people are solo people in BNI, but there are people that do have staff in other chapters. Talk us through that process and why you did that.
Yeah, sure. It's a great question, actually, Tony, because a lot of people outside of BNI don't necessarily understand the value of being inside BNI and the value that BNI can bring as a very successful marketing tool. And the reason why I invest in our team being a part of this chapter is that, as you know, there's 6,800 registered members across Australia. There's 338,000 registered members, I believe, across the world. And from a marketing perspective, a brand awareness, and more importantly, brand credibility for
Mhm.
YMM is so important for the growth and the confidence that people have inside YMM. There's also a flip side to this as well that a lot of people don't actually talk about, and that is the personal growth that the company and the individuals within the company experience the longer they stay inside BNI. So for me, from a marketing investment perspective, it's a no-brainer. And look, I'm a marketing company, right? So why wouldn't I?
Yeah, and I like the personal development side of it. It's so good for your staff, and the way I sort of see it twofold. One, you're investing in their personal development because ultimately they get up there, they got to do their 60 seconds every day, they got to mingle with other people. So it makes them better personally, makes them also better salespeople for, their business. And also it's good to see that we were at a function yesterday and you had one of your staff members there. It's good to see. It must give you some joy when you see your own staff members stand up and represent your business like that. It must be a pretty cool thing to watch.
Oh, you've got no idea. It's a proud mama moment. Just insofar as having seen them from when they first start with you, being very
Yep.
shy and very reserved and that confused, I don't know really what I'm doing here, to suddenly seeing them stand up on their own 2 feet and own the space. I think that's the big one for me. And, we've got members, team members that are playing integral parts inside BNI chapters as well. So they're
Yeah.
not just passengers, they're actually getting involved and getting immersed in the success of their own chapters. And if anything, that's what probably brings me the greatest moment.
Yeah, fantastic. Righto, let's get on to your marketing machines for a moment.
Ah, sure.
And I don't know how we fit what you do into a podcast, but anyway, give us your. We can have a bit more than 60 seconds, but let us have it.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting actually. Before I do that, yesterday, what I said yesterday kind of really hit the mark. But there's also another thing that we also do for a pre 60 second, and that is, have you heard of people who have said that they really wish they hadn't have spent that money on marketing? Or have you heard people say, I shouldn't have wasted that money and going down that pathway? If that's the case, here's how we help. And we help people to actually get three things right before they make the next decision. And that is get certainty about the decision they're about to embark on. Number two, get clarity on how they should be able to impact. And number three, give them the confidence to know that the decision they're about to make is the right one. So, as validators and market due diligence, we do sit very much in alignment with your commercial due diligence and your financial due diligence when looking at actually whether that next step is actually going to be the right step for you.
Yeah. And look, we'll blend this into you being on stage at BNI conference, but that's the bit that hit home with me. It was about are we making before we spend any money and before we do anything, I mean, is the business viable? Is the market there? I mean, there's all these things that come first rather than just your standard person going, oh, you're not spending enough on Google ads, and that's the bit on stage that really drew me to what your marketing machines is all about. Can you give us the yeah, nah speech?
So essentially, when we work with clients, you're right, there's four key areas that we really look at from an integrated, I guess, viewpoint when looking at you, looking at what it is you're trying to do, and also your business and the market. So, number one, we look at the market feasibility. Is there actually a market there for you? And that's all future planning, right? So that's future forecasting and looking at, well, how long is that runway in your business and in the market before it starts to go into a decline? And that's really important because sometimes people make the biggest mistake of buying at the peak, right, of that business life cycle, not realizing that actually within the next 6, 12 months, 2 years, you're about to hit a wall. And of course, they've paid for a business that isn't going to return on the investment. So, market feasibility is really important. Is there a market for you? The second one we look at, number two, is business viability. And that's looking more at your business and the ability of your business to be able to go there. If your business is already redlining, so you're at 100, working at 100 miles an hour 100% of the time, and suddenly you want to go do a new widget, it's like, really? Like, really? Should you really be doing that? So, business viability looks at you, the kind of resources around you, and your ability to be able to pursue in that direction. Number three for us is bottom line profitability. Are you going to make money? Right? If we're not making money, we're a charity or we're dead. Either one, it's a pretty fine line. So, business bottom line profitability is really understanding your ability to make money, not just revenue, but also that bottom line figures as well is equally important. And then the fourth one, which is one that your commercial and your financial due diligence doesn't look at, and that's your ethical sustainability. This is looking at the alignment of your values, your principles, your philosophy, and actually how you plan to go forward on this. If you're all about, personalization and, I want to be number one and I've got high values and high ethos, but you're about to take shortcuts. It's like, is that really what you should be doing? So when we look at those four key areas, we take you to what we call as a go, no go, or pivot pinch point. And for us, if you when you come to talk to us and it's a go, it's a yeah, right? Or if it's a yeah, okay. If it's a no, then it's a yeah, nah, don't do it. Like, don't be mad. But if it's a hey, look, this could work. However, we may have to pivot you. That's what we go, yeah, yeah, but
Mm, I
okay.
love it.
So the key for us here is to really give you a sense of, I guess, comfort about the thing that you're looking to want to do.
And the thing I love about all that is, not once did you just it a standard like, oh, you got to spend more on this, you got to do that. I mean, what I've really taken from your on stage talks is there's a whole lot of science to do before we run off making flashy ads. So no, fantastic. Speaking of stages, let's talk conference. Um,
Yes.
and you've been the principal sponsor for 2 years. Yep, two. Yep. For a number of years, and you take your whole team down and you have the booth set up, and it's always crowded. I think at the Sydney conference, I might have walked past at least a dozen times in 2 days before I actually got you. Then I had to sort of half interrupt because it was, the thing was nearly over. So, very popular. Tell us firstly, from your point of view, what you get out of the conference.
Yeah, sure. Look, I've always wanted to be a keynote speaker for BNI, and I might get that slot. Who knows? Fingers crossed. So the next best thing really for us was to look at sponsoring, and I've actually sponsored 3 years. So the first one was actually Cairns, where I sponsored as a bronze, and that really was just a bit of a taste, a bit of a test into what is this thing called BNI sponsorship, and that was really really good. And then 2025, when it was held in Brisbane, I was approached by Avi and he said, look, we're really looking for a Brisbane-based business to be the principal sponsor. So I said, yeah, sure, why not? We combined it with our 10-year anniversary and kind of made it into a bit of a party, if the truth really be known, Tony. But look, more importantly for us, it was an opportunity to showcase that as a team, we were coming together. So
Yep,
it wasn't just about me. It just wasn't about Andrea Anderson. This was actually about we and about the team that makes up YMM. And we weren't going to be the principal sponsor for 26. However, the opportunity presented itself to take that place again. And so we stepped up and decided that, yep, YMM was ready to do it again. So for me, national conference is an opportunity to build credibility, right? If you're going to national conference to get leads, uh, then you're going with the wrong, I believe you're going with the wrong attitude.
yep,
National conference is where we showcase us as a power team. We showcase the level of expertise, knowledge that is held within YMM, and it essentially for us becomes one-to-ones on steroids, and that's our approach going into national conference. If we have the privilege to connect in with people like yourself. We actually met this amazing woman by the name of Rachel Wingman. She's from Wonderlab, based in Sydney. I met the most beautiful man, Mario, who was a co-marketer as well as a sponsor for conference. And if there is a way that we can connect in with you and take the meeting and layer deeper, then fantastic.
yep,
But I guess my approach to sponsoring is I'm not there to get leads. I'm there to
yep.
connect. I'm there to share knowledge, to share wisdom. And for those people that feel that our message aligns with them, there's the opportunity to come and connect in with us.
Yeah, no, well said. Now, take your YMM hat off, put your BNI hat on, and you're there just as an attendee. talk us through what people get out of this great experience, apart from meeting all the sponsors and the connections you talked about. But talk us about it from an attendee point of view.
I feel for first time attendees to national conference, the big question for them is what am I going to get out of it? So that's that radio with him, right?
Yeah,
What's in it for me? I guess the best way I can describe it, because it's been 5 years that I've gone to national conference. So the
yeah,
first one I went to was 22 in Sydney. And as a first time attendee, I what I was really hoping for was that I would get to meet other like-minded and like-hearted people. Well, that got ticked multiple times.
yeah,
I was hoping that I could get a little bit more understanding of the BNI system and what is this thing called BNI and how the heck do I fit into it, if that makes sense. So that would got ticked multiple times. Uh, I also wanted to know that I wasn't the only mad person in BNI, that I wasn't the only crazy one there. Well, that got ticked multiple times. So BNI for me, attending these conferences has just been another layer, another layer, another layer of learning, another layer of connecting, and another layer of strengthening those relationships year on year. For me, and I think at National Conference in Sydney, I think I got up and I said, this is like a family reunion for me, except
yeah,
that these are people I'd rather spend my time with than my own family. Um, and it is because everyone's going there and we're all warm referrals. We're all warm connections because we're there under the umbrella of BNI. So it's not like you're walking into an environment that you really have no understanding of because it's like your BNI chapter meeting, except bigger,
yeah,
right? And there's just more people to connect in with and there's just more learning that gets done over a 2 day period. Um, and I get quite emotional every time I go to national conference now because I know I get excited because I know I'm going to connect with people that I really love, genuinely love and appreciate and respect from around Australia. And we had members come in from New Zealand this year, so it was great to catch up with peeps from the home country. We had people coming in from Malaysia, like YP Lai flew in and he was there and I get really emotional and get really excited. Look, I also drink a little bit too much red wine as well. Shh, secret scroll. It is my favorite thing to do, is to have a few drinks with everybody.
yeah.
Mm.
No, great. Excuse me. And yeah, so the other thing I sort of want to make a point of, and you touched on that, it doesn't matter what background you come from, even if you think that you're just a business that services your local area, there's still so much to get there because it's not a BNI shot in the arm. It's not about BNI. It is all about personal development. And I said this yesterday on a podcast that yes, there is guys like Phil Berg that talk about how to get the most out of BNI, and he's great saying, stop going to BNI and start doing BNI. So there's some great intel into that. But the personal development, all the speakers are based around you becoming better personally and also a business, aren't they?
Look, absolutely. If you look at how we started with Peter Merritt,
Yep.
um, let's be very clear here. There was not a dry eye
No,
left in the place.
no,
Yet the emotional journey that he took that into 400 people on quite easily, and they all went willingly, even down to popping of the balloons
yeah,
in his presentation. Because I was following him as the principal sponsor, you do get the opportunity to do a keynote for 10, 12 minutes. So I was standing out the back and I was following Peter, and I just kept thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to make my job so easy,
yeah,
because people were already there. But the way that he walked everybody through his business experiences and his personal experiences and his customer journey experiences and making the place, your workplace, a fun place to be. And then taking it through to day two, where we got smacked by a two by four with Phil Berg first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Followed, by people like Chris Melotti got up from Sydney, Tony
Mm.
Meredith from Tony Meredith Coaching was the second to last on the last day. I mean, man, you got to know what you're doing when you get to the end of the day. And then finally, Heather Jobson,
Yeah.
right, from Stockbridge Brokers. She was the very last speaker on that very last day, and she brought it home. And
Yeah.
it this is why BNI is so, people underestimate the power that is BNI that sometimes I just want to wring their necks, um, because they really don't get it. They
Well,
really don't get the fact that it's BNI is an environment for true growth,
yeah.
personally and professionally. And is it going to test your own reserve? Yes, it will, and it should do, right? Is it going to test your mindset and test how you're playing this game? And Lisa Gill, she says something really amazing. She says, how you do the little things is how you do the big things.
Mm.
And, coming to BNI is a little thing, right? And if you're not doing that, if you're not doing the little thing, if you're not taking this investment, this opportunity, this marketing arena seriously, then you've got to ask the question, why should I take your business seriously? Why
Mm.
should I take who you are and what you talk about in your 45-second when you can't extend that 45-second to 48 hours, right? And I
Mm.
go, I don't know if you're the right person that I can entrust in my network of referrals. And I know that sounds pretty brutal, so be it. Uh, but I kind of look at this and I go, as Phil Berg says, you rightly said it yourself, you know,
Mm.
don't
Yeah,
come to BNI, do BNI.
yeah, and I get it wholeheartedly because you see that, and it doesn't matter what chapter you go to, whatever. But it's the ones, if you're getting there just as it starts, and as soon as it's over, like sometimes you turn around to talk to those people because you've got something for them, and they're running for the door, and you're like, well, yeah, I know, yeah, I agree with what you're saying, 100%. So, but look, anyway, definitely worth getting down there to it. And yeah, great takeaways. The other thing I was going to say was, you can go to conferences and seminars and things like that, and especially after a few days when something's been on, and you get to the last speaker or the last session after afternoon tea or whatever, the room's half empty. You go to BNI and it's the last speaker on the last day. Some of us have been there for DNA stuff, a couple of days before. I've been there since Wednesday. So we're on Saturday afternoon. And I've had my fair share of red wines with you along the way. And all of a sudden you get to the last session and the room's still full,
Mm,
right?
mm,
And that's what I like about it. It's the caliber of speakers and the amount that
mm,
everyone wants to engage in it. That the speakers in the afternoon session are still commanding a room. Like it's something
absolutely.
to behold.
And you're right there. Because we're all connected through the ecosystem that is BNI, there is already an element of respect, right?
Correct.
Now, I know Tony and I know Heather personally, and I know how nervous both of them were. Because it's a big crowd. If you're not a seasoned speaker, uh, talking to 400 people who are also your peers, right? Let's get very
Yes,
clear
correct.
about that. They're your peers. These are the people that you sit in a BNI meeting with every week, right? So
Mm.
they were super nervous. There was an extra layer of stress, I guess, because it's one thing to speak to 400 total strangers that you may or may not never see again. But these are people that are within the BNI environment, and
Yeah.
to not be there to support that, like
Mm.
really, what happened to the core values, right?
Yeah.
So so to think that your fellow team member is not worth your support, I then have to question, in all honesty, is B&I right for you,
Mm.
right? Uh, and I remember being at actually I was at Global. So I went to Global in 2025 down to Sydney. And yes, the whole team came. We shut the doors for 4 days and flew to Sydney, rearranged, we cancelled meetings with clients. Oh, you didn't? Yeah, I did. Of course I bloody did, right? And we got immersed with, I think there was 2,000 people,
It's amazing.
two and a half, 2,000, 3,000 people at Sydney Global. There was no way in hell I was going to, and I was going to say really horrible, but I was going to put work over the importance of my team's personal growth and development. Why?
Mm.
Because I wanted them to be immersed in that environment. I wanted them to meet international people. In fact, Sebastian is part of two chapters. He's part of a chapter here in Brisbane, and he's also part of the Global Power team.
Oh, really? Good on him.
Yep. So who am I to dictate that their growth is not equally as important, right? And people forget this. They look at BNI through the wrong lens. And I know I'm standing on my soapbox here. Uh,
No, go for it.
but for me, it's like this is where you do your CPD,
Mm.
right? Is in these networking opportunities to meet with people outside of the 15 or 20 or 30 in your room and to meet with 3,000. And I look at people and I go, what's wrong with you?
Mm.
Why why wouldn't you go? Why? I don't understand your thinking, right? I'm not the one who's mad, you are. So conferences for me, this is where I get charged up, right? Not that I probably need any more, but my encouragement to people is just bite the bloody bullet. It's not like you got to give an arm. It's not like you got to give blood. It's not like we're going to try and sell you something,
Yeah.
right? Come armed with your, leave your wallet behind. Well, you just need it to buy the wines, but other than that, we're not gonna hit you up to buy $3,000 worth of a product that's going to be useless as tits on a ball for you.
Yeah. No, no, 100%. And if you want to take it to the next level, form yourself some questions or before you go, work out what you want to go down there and try and achieve because that's the one thing I did this year compared to Brisbane. I just went down to look, but this year I'm like, right, if I'm spending the money to go, I need to get answers or ideas around a few things that were playing in my head. Solved it 100% with extras. Now how long, yeah, okay, it took, call it you write off half a week by going down there. How much time was I writing off sitting in my own little bubble, stewing over that, not only from a time point of view,
Correct.
but until I unlock those things, now that I'm starting the process to unlock those things will in turn let me make more money. But if I'd have sat here in my own bubble, not only was I burning up time, but I'm just burning up money that I could have been earning. So
Correct.
I would encourage people to, if there are some sticking points in what you're trying to achieve, let it be personal growth or business growth, get those ideas in your head because that room is filled, I can guarantee you, with at least 20 or 30 people, even though there's like 400 or 500 people go, but there'll be 20 or 30 people that will have been through the exact same thing, if not more.
Correct. And Melbourne is going to be off the charts.
Mm.
Melbourne is going to be another level of business growth, personal growth, reconnections, new relationships. It's going to be massive. And I know that BNI Australia are working real hard to doubling, if not tripling the numbers for Melbourne. So you're looking at there being hopefully 1,200 people in that, down there for two days. And once again, I just encourage everybody, I hear people say, "Oh, the tickets are really expensive." And I'm like, "But you'll happily go to the, state of origin."
Mm.
right? You'd happily go and blow 300, 400, $500 for one night. Yet that investment is going to make the difference in your life. That
Yeah, but
$500 investment is going to change your life when you come to conference.
yes, but in that, as you're saying that, it's irrelevant the cost because it's expensive in relation to what, and
Correct.
I can't remember who I was talking to, but someone I was talking to the other day said they'd come back and they'd had their, the workbook thing, thing you take all the notes in, and they were reading through it, and it's a printed booklet with it's yes, you can take notes, but it's a printed booklet with all information from the speakers in there. And they said
Absolutely.
when they sat down when they got home, a month later and went through it, they couldn't believe the amount of free, vital
Mm,
information that those speakers had given up, which you would normally be paying a consultant hundreds of dollars an hour for. Um,
correct.
so, I mean, if you look at the price and spend $1,000, whatever the ticket is, there's more than that there's more than that amount of money printed in the goddamn booklet you get on the way in,
Mm.
let alone what you listen to everyone talk about.
Well, look, and this is the challenge that I really want to put out to everybody. And that is if you're not going to National Conference 2027, the problem isn't National Conference. The problem is not BNI. I'm going to suggest that the problem is the 6 inches between your ears, right? And feel free, if I've offended you in any way possible, feel free to reach out to me by all means and tell me so, right?
Uh,
Because this is where you've got to be seriously asking yourself the question, because it's not about BNI. Let's get very clear here. Um,
mm,
BNI works. BNI works if you work it. It's like buying a gym membership, right?
yeah,
It's like doing a diet, right? You got to work it. And for people who want to create excuses for themselves and put those excuses in front of their success, uh, the problem is you, right? And the problem is the 6 inches between your ears. And I'm even going to go to the point of saying, get off the victim mentality, man. Like, seriously, grow a pair, either way, up or down, don't care, grow a pair and actually do something about your situation, right? Because you can easily be replaced. Okay.
yeah,
And the reality is we want to play business successfully with like-hearted, successful BNI members. Success starts with getting out of your way and going to these kind of conferences where, number one, you can realize that your attitude is what's stopping you from creating your success,
yeah,
right? Because enough already. Enough. Uh, if you're failing, you've got to take a good look at yourself
yeah,
because within this environment, this is a success environment. BNI has been around for 40, 41 years.
yeah,
They're in 72 countries,
yeah.
right? The Footy World Cup's got 48 countries. So we've almost doubled what goes to the football, right? And so, yeah, if you're struggling with this thing called BNI, then I think there's already where the problem begins because get out of your way and give yourself a chance to be successful, man. And don't blame BNI. Just
That.
blame the
Well,
6 inches.
when you when you come to the national conference in Melbourne, you can walk up to Andrea's stand and say, "Andrea, I got the 6 inches between my ears right, and I'm here to learn." So
Beautiful.
we'll
Well,
be
you're actually going to be there to grow.
yeah. All right.
That's the key. You're going there to grow.
We'll
Go
see
to
how
grow.
we'll see how many people turn up and so and we'll see how many people turn up, come and find you. Hey, look, we've got to wrap it up. We could talk all day about it. I think we've got
Yes, we could,
I think we've
unfortunately or
got
fortunately.
I think we got the message loud and clear across. Um, I always ask people this: your favorite core value.
Building relationships.
Cool.
Business is all about relationship. It's not about what your widget is. It's not about how fancy or schmancy you are. It's about whether your values align with my values and whether you're somebody that I would love and be honored to do business with. Building
Cool.
relationships.
Well said. What's the website address for your marketing machine so
Oh, for
people
us?
can get on there? We got to have a bit of
Uh,
self promotion.
uh, um, www.yourmarketingmachines.com.au, or feel free to look me up in LinkedIn.
Cool. Or get along if you're in Brizzy, get along to visiting Brisbane,
Absolutely.
get along to BNI Oasis.
Woohoo!
Andrea, it
Yes,
was the podcast was exactly like I thought it was going to be. You did not disappoint one bit. Um, yeah, you're fantastic to be around, and I thank you very much for giving everyone an insight into that. And even though I'm not in any official capacity for BNI, apart from doing a lowly podcast, thanks for being a sponsor. You bring a great energy to the
my privilege.
to the uh, to the conference, and I love the yeah nah speech on stage. So I hope I get a bit more of it next year. So
I'm
thanks for
sure you will.
no worries at all. Thanks very much.